Yeah, let me just give you a little bit of history about Scriptures in Use and our involvement with India. In about 1996, I went to India for the first time, and I met through an organization called the North India Harvest Network. We all met in Delhi and began to realize that people were starting to get the idea of working together to develop a holistic view of church planning and a much more transformational model where everything from church planning to leadership development to community development, economic development, all these things we needed to see coming together as a body of Christ working together rather than working separately. And so the first seeds of that idea came when I was introduced to the state of Bihar and a partnership with S.D. Punraj, who is one of the leaders of the North India Harvest Network at that time. And over a period of time, we began to partner with him and a few other, a small handful of ministries in the area to begin to introduce basic leadership development and church planter training that we now call the Bridges Training Network. And we began to help them to train volunteers, elders, and grassroots church planners to come together and have a consistent and ongoing and intentional church planting effort of churches planting churches in the region. And over a period of years, we slowly grew to the point where we probably reached a threshold at about 20, 25 partners that each of them represent what we called a Bridges Training Hub. And each hub then was responsible for spreading out the ministry and began an intentional church planning effort on a regional basis. And then, as you can see over here from this map, you can see over a period, and this is not a complete map yet, we're still working on adding existing hubs to it, that some of our partners have not yet reported all of where their hubs are. So this is only a partial listing here. But I would say that the point is, in starting with about 20 ministries, it has now grown to where there's over 100 hubs, or what we call sub-hubs, where a leader hub would then develop 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 hubs in his area of influence or in his region. So one of the things that we're seeing is, as the church has progressed, we've been able to see churches planting churches and a whole movements happening. But now we've come to the place where we see the importance of leadership development and mentoring play such an important part. Oral cultures themselves are very oral based through face-to-face relationships. Face-to-face relationships and mentor leadership by example is the key to what makes good multiplying churches happen. Without that piece in there and without this important mentor link piece, we feel that our churches and the huge movement that is happening, there are thousands and thousands of churches in this model that we're slowly developing incrementally, piece by piece. And as I was mentioning earlier, we started with just how can we get a small house group started? And then it grew to how can we get a group of churches planting churches model? And then how can we then move on to where we've got multiplying leadership development going? And as an important part of that leadership development process, we realize that if we don't have mentoring as an integral part of that, we're not going to grow and sustain and be healthy. Yes, we could have multiplying churches, and that's fine, but we want to see healthy churches with good Christ-like behavior, leaders who really lead like Christ leads. And so we're looking to MentorLink and others like MentorLink to help us in leadership development over the coming years. So that's an extremely important point of our development. We've done our own internal evaluations of the network, and we've been looking at where we need to put new emphasis in the next 3 to 5 years. probably leadership in the mentoring arena is probably one of the most important things that we're going to see as for the future.